Alright, so for my informative speech, I'm going to be discussing how to calculate tip without using your phone or a calculator. Now, picture this. I'm out with my friends and they all have problems every time we go out with charging their phones. It's actually very annoying and they always rely on me and told them one day they're going to regret it. My phone's not going to be there when we need it. So that day finally came. One night we're going out and we're having a great time and my phone was broken. So I kept telling them, charge your phones, charge your phones. And throughout the night, periodically, someone else's phone dies, another person's phone dies, and there's 5 of us, including me. So there's only 4 phones left, and I see it trickling down and down until we're down to my last friend's phone. So we catch an Uber to go to a 24-hour diner because we always want to eat after we go out. We're at the 24-hour diner, her phone's like on 2%, and she's like, oh, don't worry guys, it'll be fine. Then our food comes out, she's like, oh, sorry, I know my phone's about to die, but I know it'll be enough to take a video of our food. So we're like, we get it, that's what you do, but your phone's about to die. So then her phone dies, we get our bill, and everyone's like, oh, what should we tip? I don't know. So I'm like, just give me the bill. And now I'm going to show you how you calculate tip without using a calculator. So the first step is you're going to want to decide what you want to tip. For example, if you're in Europe, per se, then you'll want to tip like 2% because they don't really tip that much. Or if you had crappy service, you might not want to tip at all. If it was horrible, they forgot your food, there was like so much hair in it, you could make a wig, just a bunch of different stuff. So first you want to look at how much you want to tip. Then you want to break it down. For example, if you're trying to tip 20%, think of 20% as 2 10%. If you're trying to tip 15%, think of that as a 10% and a 5%. 10%, that's just itself. Or if we go back to the Europe example, if you only want to tip 2%, think of that as 1% and 1%. Okay, so you have your percents and how it's broken down to make it a bit easier. Next, you want to look at how much the bill is and then round it to the nearest ones place or tens place. I like to do that because it's easiest, and if you round over the tens place, like to the hundreds, then that'll make things annoying. Like if your bill is $160, I'm not gonna tip you from a $200 bill. So our bill that night, I think was like 63. Let's just say it was 63.75. Okay, so I'm going to round that down to $60. If the number is 5 or higher, you're going to round it to say 70. If it's 4 or lower, you're going to round it down to 60. And if you're rounding only to the ones place, you have like a really cheap lunch or something, and say it's like $8.62. You'll round that to $9, okay? So I rounded it to 60. Next thing, I'm going to look at my percents breakdown. We decided that night to tip 20% because it was only one girl working. The service was slow, but it was just one girl doing all the work, and there were these guys just sitting there that clearly looked like they worked there. So we were going to tip her nice. So that is 2 10%. Now, 10% of $60 is just $6. The way you figure out 10% of something is look at that number and then move the decimal point 1 over. Say if you have that $8 bill that you rounded to $8, you move the decimal over 1 and it'll be 80 cents, or you could round that as well to $1. So we have $6 for our 10%. Now I'm just going to add 10% plus 10% to get 20, and 6 plus 6, which is 12. Now I have my tip and we just write it down. So say we want to tip 15% from that $60 rounded bill. We have our 10%, 6. Half of 10 is 5%, so that would be 3. 6 plus 3 is 9. And you just simply write that down. So after I wrote that down, they all looked at me like, oh my gosh, Khaiylah, yeah, you did your thing. And I'm like, listen, all it is rounding, some simple math, and you have to look at things more simplistically. Like, I know people make tipping so difficult because they want to get the exact change right. What the heck is 40 more cents gonna do? It can do something, but it's not gonna do much. So that is how you tip without using a calculator.